I thought we pretty much agreed that all that happened this last week was like a mediocre pay-per-view, and then just a clusterfuck of like a last half hour.
Yeah, I feel like if we want to start this show quickly reviewing the last week, all we have to really be like is, yo, fuck Charlotte, Kairi Sane's a badass. There we go, we're done.
It's not even fuck Charlotte, it's like, what do we pay the refs in WWE for to stand there and look like jackasses? That's all they do. Oh, are you hurt? Okay, walk away. Like, oh, thanks, douche nozzle. I really fuck like calling a stretcher and stretching her out so that like the rest of the match can go. No, we're gonna put her in an even more damaging situation.
Yeah,
because by not fully expressing to the other one of the other women, who then gets pissy and like does a sandbag powerbomb on her,
slaps her in the back of the fucking head.
Which, like, I'm sure Becky was like, she's hurt. Or something. But, like, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that she probably didn't know what kind of hurt until after she'd done it.
I would love and then camera cuts to her and she's just like, uh-oh, fuck. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second annual Golden Boy Awards. I am your host for the evening, the bad boy of award ceremonies, Scottye Moore.
I'm confused that we aren't calling it the Tibbies. The Dylan.
No. The Tibbies is a JWF thing. We don't do the Tibbies. That's not us.
Oh, I thought we had co-opted it by paying off Captain Tibbs with that bottle of light rum.
It was a 24-pack of Natty Light.
That was only for 1 year, and thank you for being a Boyz. It's Blake Tanner.
Thank you for being a Boyz.
Yeah, that's a way creepier way to sing that song.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you for being the Boyz.
Thank you for being a boy, Dylan.
No, the. You have to put the. If you do then it sounds like child molestation, okay?
Yeah.
There's a line, let's not cross it.
So, we might as well get into it right now because fucking, it's December. That means wrestling. They say wrestling never stops. Wrestling technically stops in December. It doesn't matter. And quick show note before we get into it. There will not be an episode next week because we have families and like to enjoy Christmas with them.
That's a lie. I actually don't have shit going Christmas Eve, but they do.
Yeah. So, let's start off with the bad. The worst. The most diabolical award.
Okay, really quick though.
Oh, no.
How are we gonna be doing this show?
So it was the most half-assed way I could think of doing this, which is each of us picked a nominee. I put it in a spreadsheet, then we each voted for our order, and then I took those orders, averaged them out, and what you're going to hear is like basically our opinion of the three we've nominated, what order they would go in. So our number one is the official Fight Boys ranking for the number one best of the year, who really deserves that Golden Boy. And these fuckers worked for this one by doing some diabolical shit, because up first is our heel of the year, and I'm not talking about bad guys, I'm not talking about MJF or Kabuki Warriors, I'm talking about just the fucking worst thing of this year. And, Blake, you've nominated number 3, if you'd like to.
Wait. Before we get into this, honorable mention to someone who actually took the category seriously. The person that actually tried to be, like, the actual most hated person, Jay White, the only person I've seen who gets legitimately booed in Japan. Not for, like, interference or anything, just by being himself. Like, the Bullet Club used to because they would constantly, like, fuck it with matches and, like, you know, goes against strong style. Jay White just get booed for being there. He shows up and gets booed.
Yeah.
How is it that I knew that somehow Dylan was gonna get Jay White in here
because
somehow?
He said it. He fucking said it in chat. He was like, look, you guys can do whatever the fuck you want to do, but I'm talking about Jay White.
He deserves it.
Well, fuck. Well, speaking
he main
of
evented Madison Square Garden.
Well, speaking of creepy, greasy boys, Blake, who is our number 3 nominee for Heel of the Year?
No, third place Heel of the Year is Corey Graves. And I decided to nominate him because I dislike the Twitter presence of many people, but there's only one dude that has made my favorite commentator actually just, and it probably wasn't like everything that made him just like take some time off and make Morrow like leave and end his social media presence for a while. But Corey Graves is the man that started it and fed those flames, and for that I can never forgive him.
He also started a shock jock podcast, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up, is the fact that Taz actually tweeted out about Corey. Let me see if I can find the exact tweet, because I sent it to you guys. Someone was asking, oh yeah, Graves is determined to get himself the bully reputation. Taz responds, no, he just wants content for the podcast WWE handed him. Meanwhile, he has every resource possible to succeed, but he tries to become a hot take, controversial, outspoken, shock jock podcaster tryhard. Brother, please. And that's when Taz got over with me again.
Yeah, Graves has just been that constant shit heel on Twitter, and
it's on his podcast too. I can confirm, because at one point he was like, I miss the Queen Charlotte, I miss like badass Charlotte, and I was like, I miss you shutting up.
Yeah.
God forbid we let other people have a chance in the sun. Yeah, fuck that.
No, he's center of attention, of course, always, and really mostly his Twitter game, like, he's kind of a shitty person in real life, but I don't even want to get into that stuff where he and his ex-wife split up, and then people were wondering if he was cheating on her with Carmella at the time.
Oh shit, that was this year too, wasn't it?
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck, he's had a run.
I hate him because he made me dislike Carmella for a period of time, and like,
yeah.
I also hate that like he started out being a commentator that I like, but now he's just not. He's Jerry
Lawler light.
Yeah, he's kind of Jerry Lawler light. He's just that kind of guy who's coming out, and every time he sees Mandy Rose, he just can't help himself.
Well, going from one greasy boy to another greasy boy, my number 2 heel of the year nominee is the man who I think holds the award on this show for being the only man to ever have all 3 of us nominate him as a heel of the week, and it is Seth freaking Rollins. And
I'm so sad that we lost that audio.
I want to give props, by the way, to the fact that Seth Rollins, at the beginning of this year, probably could have been a babyface of the year. He really could have. And then he had like 1 week during that Becky Lynch, Baron Corbin rivalry where he came out against like AEW. He came out on Twitter. Who was it? It was Ospreay, wasn't it?
It was Will Ospreay, John Moxley, and then we had to deal with his fucking stupid Baron Corbin angle.
Yeah, exactly.
He struck out in 1 week.
Yeah, all that happened at once, and then from then on, it's like he doubled down on it. And it was, honestly, it's the same thing with Corey. Corey knows what he's doing. And with Seth, I think he was straight up like, I'm fucking bored, turn me heel. Which meant that we had to deal with months of him being a terrible person on Twitter, where I think Seth was just wanting to turn heel, and then finally the company was like, okay, fuck it. Like, you know how Zack Ryder got himself over with the YouTube show? I feel like he was trying to get himself over as a heel this year, and then they finally decided to run with it after Survivor Series.
The thing is that, like, it's arguable between him and Corey who's worse, just because, like, while we all hated Rollins for months, like, Rollins would at least apologize every once in a while. Like, he tried to make amends to Ospreay, and, like,
He and Moxley are cool, you know.
Yeah.
Do we have confirmation on that? I feel like Moxley doesn't give a shit, and that's why they're cool.
Yeah.
It feels like less of an actual, like, oh, we're friends again, and more of a, like, listen, you just stay the fuck in the corner with your hair.
I don't think that, honestly, I'm not even sure that Moxley ever took it seriously, because I think he's one of those guys that's just like, you know, he knows Seth better than any of us, so, like, this is probably just like, oh yeah, that's just him being him.
It's like, he's snorting the Kool-Aid again.
And also, Seth did have that period of where he was trying so hard to be the company guy and defending the company all the time.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
No matter, like, what bad shit was going on, and he would just not let up. And I hope that his heel run will be better, because after Mania, like, he beat Brock, and it was not as big of a reaction as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then it's just been a downward spiral from there.
And we'll get into that in another category, but for right now, let's get into what I consider a late entry, because it was not until I saw Final Battle last weekend that I came to you guys and said, I know it's not on the list, but I think this might need to be number 1 on the list. Dylan, would you like to go?
So, there are a lot of gruesome things that happen in professional wrestling. There's a lot of death matches, there's a lot of injuries, but never before have we seen a promotion commit on-air suicide by fucking over everyone in their company collectively.
In 1 year.
It's been happening for a long time, but it all came out in 1 year.
It came out in 9 months.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden happened, and then it slowly over time.
Also, number 1 heel of the year, Ring of Honor. We haven't said the name yet.
Yeah, you need to announce that.
Congratulations. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. Ring of Horror. Oh wait, no. That's Vincent's new fucking carnival game.
Yeah. It's literally, do you remember Crazy Steve's first stable before Decay? It's that. It's just that.
Oh, here comes the clowns. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then the clown. God, this is the thing about having ROH and Seth both retired heels. Did we retire Corey too? I can't remember.
I don't
we
think...
just hated him.
Yeah.
It was like a flare.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about having them both on here, is because we have spoken ad nauseum about how horrible Ring of Honor has been, specifically since the Madison Square Garden show. The Madison Square Garden show, which should have been their, moment to cement themselves.
Yeah, it was when they decided to shit themselves on national television. It was great.
Yeah, and then after that, we had the Kelly Klein stuff come out, all the stuff with Joey
Women
Mercury.
only deserve $20,000 to wrestle. I don't know what do you think's wrong with that. Also, we don't need to hire security. We're just gonna have this old fat man bully people in the crowd whenever they boo the heels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Oh, man, Bully Ray is almost a tangential, heel nominee that is tacked on to Ring of Honor. Because of all of the shit that he did as, what even is he in the company? He's something.
The Hulk Hogan of the company. He's basically the wrestler with all the creative control. And I'm realizing that more and more because, one of the new people in Ring of Horror, Team 3D graduate. Almost any new people they have coming in are coming straight from Team 3D, from what I've seen. And that's straight up Bully Ray's influence. So, yeah, they definitely deserved it, because, I remember sitting there going Final Battles tonight. I might as well check it out, see PCO win and all that. Even the PCO match, and I know PCO is kind of limited as a worker, was ridiculous.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind
of limited.
But I mean, the match was ridiculous. Destro, his fucking Frankenstein, comes out at one point, and the story is supposed to be, he's getting reinvigorated because they hook him up to the car battery of a hearse. And
but they fuck up the spot.
Well, not that. You'd think that they would have, sparks shoot out of the car or something for the live audience. It's just him holding on to the fucking jumper cables and being like, and that's it. That's the whole bit. And that's when I went, okay, no, they deserve a spot. They've done too much this year.
We had a scene in the wrestling audio drama that we do where a literal god came back to life after being killed, and somehow that is more buck wild than that fucking stupid car battery.
Yes, we do more realistic shit, and we had a live resurrection. So, yes.
Didn't that happen with the Ministry of Darkness? That feels like a real angle. Oh no, that was a live human sacrifice. Sorry, other way around.
Yeah, or crucifixion as well.
Yeah, of course. We did have a live exorcism, though, at one of the pay-per-views.
Yes.
But we've talked the biggest heel of the year. Now let's get into the biggest surprise, the biggest holy shit moment of the year. What shocked us the most this year? And this is my favorite because I know what number 1 is and it makes me feel special. But let's start with number 3. And I didn't think about this one. So Dylan, I kind of want to know your reasoning behind your choice for this as the number 3 spot.
All right. So my main first surprise of the year is the booking of Kenny Omega in AEW.
Yeah,
it's surprising because I didn't expect them to go the route they did. Like I really did expect that they were like, okay, we're gonna put it on Kenny. Kenny's gonna be the flagship worker, and then we're gonna show work rate for their first thing, however long. And instead, they're like, we're gonna have a 50-year-old man slowly back elbow Kenny, like at the speed of smell.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna then have him lose again, and then just slowly go crazy. And it's just been like the whole thing has just been buck wild. Like we're still in the middle of it. Like this hasn't concluded at all, and it probably won't until like we reach Double or Nothing again. But like. No, that's not what I expected. I was fully bought into like first AEW champion Kenny Omega, and like nope, not even close. I got Mega champion Kenny Omega. That was close. Cool. That's still cool, but still,
I can't believe that they turned something that was at the time a little disappointing into. This is still good shit.
Yeah,
though.
No, it's been like I said, it's not that it's been bad in any way, shape, or form, but like every time they do something, I was like, you're still getting me.
Yeah,
it's almost a reverse of a later thing we're gonna talk about.
Well, number 2 is something that it didn't shock me the day it happened, but if you had told me this at the beginning of the year, it would have shocked me, and it was. CM Punk fucking returning to wrestling at all. Because, and I understand he's not like a professional wrestler right now. He is an analyst. But at the same time, just seeing him display the love that he has for pro wrestling again made me so excited. I feel like the way we learned about it made it even better. Because it was while recording this fucking show. And
it was at the very end.
And Blake just be like, hey guys, something happened. And like ever since that, like I talked about the Wrestling History X show that we're doing for Patreon. I immediately was like, I want to talk about the Summer of Punk. And I've been revisiting old Punk shit, and it's great. And I don't know, it really took me by surprise that Punk came back. It also took me back took me aback by how he returned, which is on a poorly rated FS1 show at the end of it, only to be back like every couple of weeks. But still, I'm like, it's fucking good. He's back. I can hear him shit on Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin's dumb angles. And that's what I want, that more than I want Punk to wrestle. I just want to hear Punk talk about shit.
Because Punk was a like above average wrestler, but he was like the top tier character and talker.
Yeah.
And that's what you're getting.
You're getting the best bits of Punk.
Exactly. And now finally, the number 1 biggest surprise of the year. Blake Tanner.
Right here, right now. This one was... It's not really related to any of the big wrestling companies, I guess, but it's related enough for us as the Fight Boys.
Yes.
Because number 1 is the Fight Boys go to Vegas. So listen the fuck up, y'all.
By the way, I want you to know I take at least 25% credit for this.
Oh, no. I knew it was going to be number 1. That's the only reason I didn't pick it. I was like, I'm going to give it to him.
I meant for this happening. You remember how we had the show months and months ago, and I was like, yeah, put her name in. You never fucking know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly that's what I was going to talk about, because it's, Scottye just on a random day sent a message to us and says, hey, try to get into doing Starcast. Y'all gonna be good? Should I even try doing that?
I was like, do it, bitch.
And then he did it. And then one day during my first week at my new job, I was going to get like lunch. And then Scottye's like, hey, this is happening.
No. If you don't, the day of, I was radio silent. I was, hey guys, the show's tonight. And then we had to cancel the show for some reason. And I was like, can we just hop on a call anyways? Because I got to tell you guys something. And if I remember correctly, I believe Dylan thought the show was being canceled.
Yeah, I was like, oh, man, we're ending it. Like, something happened. Oh, this is sad. I'm going to miss these guys.
Yeah. But, okay, it was the day after I was thinking, because that was when I was, like, working on making sure all of the flights were booked. Because I had to book a flight for Dylan. But we just sat in a chat for... It was a long time.
It could have been 2 whole Fight Boys episodes.
Like, yeah, we were, like, once we realized this was happening, we had to go through all of the logistics of planning a trip to Vegas in, like, less than a month.
I had to, like, rearrange a vacation I had already paid for.
And
your family was coming to visit, weren't they?
Yeah, I missed, like, all of that.
Yeah, hold on. If I may really quickly... The worst nightmare possible came true for me, because I told you guys, and then Blake goes, I've got a play I've got to do. And then I'm like, well, Dylan and I can't. No, I've got family coming into town. Guys, no! Guys, we can't do this!
Thankfully, it worked out that it was a week that I wasn't needed, so...
Yeah, and my family was really cool when I explained, like, hey, listen, I got, like, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here, so I'm gonna need y'all to not.
And my whole family was just jazzed that I was going to Vegas.
Yeah. Your dad was like, can y'all win me something, son?
Mm-hmm. And the fact that happened at all.
Yeah.
Like, that we... Not only did we get lucky enough to, like, get a spot to do our podcast with Mega Ran also.
Yeah.
In front of an audience of 3.
I like to count Matt Maney in that audience because we got to know that was probably the biggest win. But we just got to chill in Vegas for a weekend, and we did not fucking stop, even though Dylan was so fucking sick.
Yeah.
No. My favorite thing is, like, so I'm kind of under the weather now, but, like, the whole time I was like, man, it could be worse. I can make the decision to smoke cigars and drink liquor again, like I did last time I felt like this, and then get on a shitty airline across country.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. The whole trip, but finding out about it was probably, like, the most jazzed I'd been about something all year.
Yeah. Well, now...
And that's why it wins the surprise of the year.
Now let's move on to the most improved. This show improved so much this year. No, let's start with third, and Dylan, I don't think it should shock the world that you managed to shoehorn these two into a category, if you'd like to begin.
Not only, listen, first off, fuck you. Second off, both of you are wrong. Your picks are wrong, and you should feel bad about them.
Yeah.
Because, like, the Kabuki Warriors are the correct decision, because when the Kabuki Warriors got together, I remember all of our exact reaction, which was, of course they put the 2 Japanese people in a tag team, and then they had a white person be their mouthpiece, because that's how colonialism works. It's like the reverse Orient Express, honestly. Like, we replaced Mr. Fuji with Paige, we replaced 2 supposed, like, we replaced people with the 2 Japanese. And, like, it didn't work, because Kairi had her original pirate gimmick and Asuka was still regular Asuka, and, like, they didn't really do anything. They weren't even on TV for months.
Yeah. It was just they existed.
And then randomly, like, 3 months ago, they were like, hey, what if Kairi became, like, a wolf anime villain, and Asuka just started looking like she bled, like, poison from her mouth and eyes? And they were like, I don't know. And then they had like the best week ever, where they sprayed mist at Paige so effortlessly that it looked like a Renaissance painting, and they've become the best thing every week that they're on television.
Yeah.
Like I will they're in like the top 2 segments. Like either they're number 1 because they come out and they like do their over the top fucking like Japanese anime bullshit, and then they always have at least a good match. Sometimes it's really good and they pull some like crazy shit. Like at TLC they had a lot of really good spots. Like it's overshadowed by like the other stuff, but they were fucking going for it.
Oh yeah. At one point they just tie Becky to a ladder like it's railroad tracks. And part of me wanted Becky to start wrestling with the ladder attached to her back. Like she would have to try to climb a ladder while attached to a ladder.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they have also earned, like, the unending respect of everybody that they've gone up against.
Yeah.
Specifically with their last match at TLC, too, which I think really does cement them in this category. But...
Yeah, no, because it's been great. They've been great. Like I said, they're... Like, any content WWE puts out with them, I'm just like, oh, I look forward to it, because, like, I know it's going to be quality. And, like, it's always, like weird and unique. Because, like, there's nobody really doing their gimmick, like, in that way. Like, it's so weird and, like, unique. But, like, every time they do something, it's similar, but it's still somewhat different. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan that Asuka started using the mist. The mist, I think, is one of my top 5 wrestling gimmicks.
I remember you hated it at first, because you were just like... you gave an Asian person the mist, okay, and then like a few weeks later you're like, this is the best fucking thing ever.
Because it was like, because at first it was a one-up, but once she like had like the new makeup and everything, and she just started, like there wasn't any show to it, she would just do it. Like, because a lot of the time it's like you're summoning it like it's fucking Naruto, but she was just like, hey there, like just full, that one she did on Charlotte where it went on for like a full 5 seconds, like shit like that is why it's great now. But again, I was hating it, and then they proved me wrong, and they improved it past, and that's why they're my pick.
Well, number 2 is mine, and it is a guy who last year I considered I loved him when he first got to left WWE. And then he just got worse and worse and became like a guy who
3-star general, baby.
3-star general. He just had matches like Kenny Omega, a man who could have a great match with a literal blow-up doll or a fucking child, couldn't even pull a decent match out of him. Like, it was all right, the one they had. But then this year, my pick for most improved, Cody fucking Rhodes, turned it up to 11. And I don't know if it's because AEW is his baby, and he wants to be like his dad. He wants to be Dusty. He wants to be the one who consistently puts on the best product in his company. But like, the fucking Dustin match, phenomenal. The match he had with Darby that went to a time limit draw, fantastic. Everything. I don't think Cody's done a thing this year where I've been like, that was all right. It's always been like, fuck yeah, Cody's here. The only thing I don't like about him at this point is the fact that he's added like weird orchestral music at the beginning of his theme song, and I'm like, oh, okay. If you want to Triple H it up, you can.
Just give me the downstat.
Yeah, just give me the downstate, please. Give me the downstate.
Also, fuck, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say, I just can't remember. It's like, make him say,
Yeah, make him say,
He makes him say, He's cut probably my favorite promo of the year, which is the one before the Jericho thing. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. And so, like, that is why Cody is my pick for most improved this year. Blake, I'm curious about yours. Both of you, well, I mean, Dylan was obvious he was going to do Kabuki Warriors, but I'm real curious about your pick, the number 1 most improved boy this year.
Well, my pick and number 1 most improved wrestler of the year, Jon Moxley.
No.
Because
you got to Justin Robert it. It's going to be, yeah! 5 hours. 5 hours later. Moxley!
Okay, let me tell you why I love this motherfucker. because he went from his stupid vaccination stinky people gimmick in WWE, deciding that he was going to leave, got eliminated from the Rumble right in the middle of it by, I think it was Aleister Black, and he just, like, basically disappeared and went to ground.
Wasn't even on WrestleMania. Had that weird Shields last ride thing they did for the network.
And then, all of a sudden, that fucking changed when Dean Ambrose died and Jon Moxley was resurrected.
Yep.
He went on and he smashed the G1. He was so fucking good. His whole angle with Shooter and having the American Championship, like, that was all so good. He went in, he did so many, like, indie bookings. He showed that he's still the fucking workhorse that he was in WWE because he just fucking loves to wrestle, and he got to do wrestling the way he wanted to do it. And that's cutting these badass promos, and that is maiming himself whenever he fucking feels like it. All of his matches I've enjoyed this year. His deathmatch spots have, like, while some of them I utterly cringe at, the matches still tell a good story. His whole promo style hasn't changed per se, but he has increased, like, the intensity and the levels of the Paradigm Shift promo. It still comes to mind every time I think about it. Like, he went from having absolute shit that he had to turn into something decent with WWE to having carte blanche to be the badass that he was always meant to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's the most improved this year.
And I don't think, we didn't put it down as a match of the year, like, candidate between the three of us, but his match against Kenny, the death match, was fucking phenomenal, and I love it.
Yes, definitely. Like, that was...
He caused one of my favorite reactions I've heard this year, because as I've talked about on this show before, when Dylan goes to full childlike glee because of pro wrestling, it makes me so happy. And at Double or Nothing, at one point, when Moxley starts coming out, Dylan stands up like Santa Claus is coming to the ring, and he goes, "He's here! He's really here! Oh my God.
That was such a good fucking mark out moment too.
Yeah.
And the fact that we were there live for it, oh my God.
And Moxley, he's got a killer theme song, but he does not have theme song of the year. I actually would give it an honorable mention though. But for right now, let's get into our nominees for theme song of the year.
I will go first.
Yeah.
Because our third place is those good fucking boys, the Pride of the West.
SCU!
I fucking love their theme. I heard it for the first time in its entirety at Double or Nothing, and maybe that's why I love it so much. But it just gets you so hyped when those three are coming down to the ring. And really, there aren't tons of wrestlers that you want to shout out their name every time it's in the song.
But them, yeah.
But these guys.
Oh, dude, I'll be driving down the road and listening to it. Window rolled down. People will be walking on the side of the road, and they just get spooked because they just hear, SCU! from me on the outside. They're like, fuck, what was that? Also, I love it because at the end of it, because most wrestling themes, they go on for a while and then it fades out because it's wrestling. If you keep listening to their song at the end, it's just them doing bits back and forth at each other. Like fucking Scorpio starts doing a southern accent. It's real fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like, I think it's all around just a great song. It's great for an entrance, too, because it's not too long. It will loop if you let it. But it's one of those songs that gets you hyped, and I see that one being a song that's someone's, like, it'll cause a whole stadium to mark out to, like, if they break up and return, or if they just go away for a while and return.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll say, of all three of ours, I blast on the reg. The only one that I don't blast is because it's not on Spotify yet, and it is Dylan's pick, our number 2 theme song of the year.
Ba 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 best friends. Da na na da na na.
Best friends.
Fuck you, it's amazing. Not only does it slap, the story behind the graphics for it is fucking amazing.
Uh-huh.
That's half the reason I love this song.
Well, my favorite is how I found out about it, because on Twitter, on the Fight Boys account, I went like, it sounds like, or it looks like Chuck and Trent just randomly texted them different shit to put in, and that's how it was made. And then someone replied and was like, that's because that's exactly what fucking happened. And then showed a screen grab of fucking Chuck and Trent.
I was like, well done. You guessed correctly.
Yeah.
Because Chuck linked the text. He was like, I don't know, can you put in like some aliens and ghosts? And Cody texts back, shoot. We can do that. And by God, they fucking did. And it's
puppies.
And puppies. It's the most random bullet. And I was like, this is terrible, but it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And this song is amazing. Like, everything about this, it's like the best friends. Everything about this shouldn't work, and yet it works perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. The most recent episode of JXT that me and Blake did, one of our tag teams lost to the best friends in tag team action, and at first we were disappointed. We were like, that's our boys, and they lost. But it does mean we get to play bow to the best friends. And now...
It's just so weird. It's lovely.
And now finally, here's my thing. A good pro wrestling theme song, I feel like the words, if you listen to them, they need to, like, empower you. I remember back in the day... I Came to Play by The Miz would blast on, and I would just get energized, like, yeah, I did come to play. Let's fuck this shit up. Let's go.
Especially if your theme song is an actual song.
Yes, exactly. And that is the same exact energy I get from our theme song of the year. A song that we were hungover and exhausted in an airplane to, was it Dallas that we had our connection in?
Yep.
And we were just all but like,
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
just fucking rapping Cody's theme because it gets...
I had that shit stuck in my head for the entire Sunday.
Yeah.
I was like half like sick. I was nicotine high and like buzzed at one point, and I was like, I still like that song. I was like,
yeah. We would be like on the plane, like really exhausted. Man, you know, guys, my advice is, my father said when I was younger. And it's just every time it comes on, I get empowered and just want to go take over the world.
To this day, if I'm having a bad morning, I will blast that bad boy, like when I'm in the shower or something, and that is all I need to just feel a little bit better.
Yeah, but once again, this is why I get upset about the fucking weird orchestral music at the beginning of Cody's theme. All I want to hear is that wrestling is in my blood, and just crank it up, and that's all I fucking need.
First off, that's not actually what he says.
Oh, what is it?
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Oh, fuck yes. Oh, man. But now it's time to get into what normally should be the end of this, but we've kind of swapped it out with something that I can... When like, Meltzer releases the Wrestler of the Year, I consider it what we've changed things out. Instead, we're doing Performer of the Year. But for right now, I want to talk about the best in-ring wrestler of this year, who has put on the best performances in that ring in the year of 2019. And I'm starting things off because I picked a weird one, y'all. Because I didn't pick both Young Bucks. I picked exclusively Nick Jackson. Because really, Matt is the storyteller. He is what I would call the entertainer of the group. I mean, he's got his cool, like, backflip fucking suplex spot he does now, but for the most part, if you're looking for the wrestling, it's Nick Jackson.
I do, as an aside, I do love the Infinite Northern Lights suplex. That's a fucking hilarious spot.
It's such a good spot. And then, like, the other guy will run in, he grabs them, hits it too. But yeah, Nick Jackson just consistently impresses me in the professional wrestling ring. And I was just gonna do the Bucks as a whole. And then he had his match against, it was Phoenix, wasn't he? He had the match against. And that's when I went,
first singles match in, like, decades.
And I was like, oh shit, Nick's just good. Nick's just good no matter what. He consistently
That's why he's the hot tag.
Yeah, he's consistently pulling off, like, was he the one who took the Canadian Destroyer through the ladder, or was it Matt?
No, that was Matt.
That was Matt. But, even then, like, that whole match they had against the Lucha Bros, which was probably... That would be we didn't put this as a category, but my series of matches of the year, like, storyline-wise...
Rivalry of the year.
Yeah, would be Lucha Bros versus Young Bucks, because of all of the just... insane spot fest bullshit they did during it, because at least there was still, like, logic to it, like their Escalera de la Muertes match they had, where fucking Nick and I can't remember, I think it was Phoenix, just kept looking at each other like, don't you jump on my brother, I'll jump on your brother, I'm gonna do it, and then just perfect synchronicity as they hit it at the exact same moment. And that is why Nick Jackson is my 2019 Wrestler of the Year.
Man, really snubbing Matt over there,
Yeah.
huh?
And my entertainer of the year, Matt Jackson.
I guess that means it's time to get to my wrestler of the year, and that is none other than Adam Cole, baby! He's just had a really great year's worth of matches, I think, especially front-loaded in early on in the year with his series against Johnny Gargano. He's had a bunch of just matches with a lot of great people in NXT. I really liked his matches against that involved Velveteen Dream. And then you came down, and all the time, all of the matches had great story. He's a great wrestler. And I just always be like, if he's in a main event match or something, it's one that I want to see. It's like the big one that I know I want to see. And I mean, he's had the NXT championship for a while now. And he's always put on great defenses of it. Specifically after his, that match at War Games where
he died.
Where he died.
He died twice. He's died twice. It's impressive.
Yeah, and then the next night went on to beat Pete Dunne in a great match when he was injured.
With a broken wrist. Yeah, I was going to add that in. I mean, and that's the beauty of it, is he's had that title for how long? When did he win it? I can't even remember.
It was earlier this year because Gargano beat him for it, and
that's
he won it back.
And then they finished it with with the 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Or something.
No, the 2 out of 3 was where 2 out of 3 was where Gargano won it, and then Cole won it back from him later.
Yeah, and it's not like it's gotten exhausting. Like, he could hold that title for a Brock Lesnar length of time, and no one would be like, he's had this for a very long... It's like AJ Styles. When AJ had the title, no one was like, he's had that title for how long? He just happened to hold it for like a fucking year and some change, and no one questioned it.
Yeah, because his matches are good, and he does them a lot.
By the way, he also has an impressive streak of super kicking people mid backflip, and I don't know how you practice that, but by God, if he doesn't have it down to a science.
Yeah.
At this point, and that's why I love me some NXT champion Adam Cole action.
And our number one wrestler of the year goes to a man who I don't think I've seen a match he's done this year. But so that's why I'm just gonna sit down and let Dylan take the reins.
So here's the thing: I have seen a good portion of his matches. The thing is that he has wrestled like an absurd amount. Will Ospreay, my wrestler of the year and our overall wrestler of the year, has wrestled an absurd number of matches. He's wrestled in everything you can do in New Japan. New Japan Cup, Best of the Super Juniors, G1, Super Junior Tag League. Like, he has done everything he can, and at every single point of that, there's at least one match of his that everybody's like, you have to see this. You have to see the match. His his final at Best of the Super Juniors, like in almost all reviews, all boards, like match of the year candidate, like high up, like his stuff during the G1 that he did, like making everyone look amazing. And he does it consistently. Like he just keeps going and going and going, and he's not limited by his junior status, even in the company. They're like, yeah, we'll give him the never belt. Like, we'll legitimize him. He had that great match with Ibushi, where he murdered Ibushi.
God, that Ibushi match was so good.
Like, he he developed a mean streak. He keeps going around to, like, multiple countries. He keeps trying to put, like part of New Japan on his back. Especially now that Kushida left, he's like, all right, I'll do that. And, like, it's... Every time you see a GIF, or like you see like a section of a Will Ospreay match, you know that like that was good. But that was probably the whole match, if we're being honest, because it always is. There's not, I can't think of a bad Will Ospreay match, like tag league, anything. There's never one where it's like, well, that was a 1-star. Like that's more impressive. Is like where like even if you don't have 5-star matches every time, if your lowest is like 3.5, like
yeah, exactly. I think it was when John Morrison came on The Bump, the WWE weird podcast thing they do. Someone put, joining us in studio today is the most impressive, athletic, professional wrestler on the planet today. And I get really replied, but they go, Will Ospreay's in Japan. What are you talking about?
Oh, that was John was like, I'm really happy to be here in WWE with the best performers in the world. And Punk was like, Ospreay's in Japan, dude.
Yeah. But we do need to give another award, an award that I'm begrudgingly been paid to give, and it is, of course, our Patreon Person of the Year. And unfortunately, that does have to go to that motherfucker Ghazi, the man who's consistently and always donated the most at patreon.com/a-load-of-BS. And listen, if you're out there right now, fucking donate. Dethrone Ghazi. You can donate like $5, and next year we'll be like, yeah, they got it. they got it. They beat Ghazi. And if you do,
Ghazi, who has always been in the chat, Ghazi, who has always just been chilling with us. We went to see a show with Ghazi. It was great.
Yes.
You motherfucker.
But of course, if you do donate, you get access to exclusive shows from all the shows on the network. Me and Blake do a show called You Paid for This, where we watch terrible movies and then commentate over them. We're actually going to have to watch Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer soon. And Blake might be on psychedelics, but it's fun. If you want access to that, you get that. And Wrestling History X, the exclusive wrestling history show that we're going to be producing. Did you guys check out the first episode? I sent it to you guys, but I understand. It's a lot.
Yeah, I haven't had time.
It's perfectly... It's okay. The only people who really need to hear it are our patrons at patreon.com/a-load-of-BS. Now, before we get into the rest of the awards, do we want to give an award for Twitter account of the year? Because I know Dylan is firmly in the Sexy Chucky T camp, but I want to give it to a non-wrestler, which is Boss Moz. Boss Moz has been my favorite account this year.
That's cool. I don't have anybody to nominate because I don't check Twitter.
All right, Dylan, you want another one?
Do I have another one?
I mean, yeah, you're just like fucking Oni. Duh, Oni Lorcan.
No. I mean, he is really good. The only other ones I follow are like the ones that cover Japanese, like Evan Deadly Sins or Lariato or TDE, who makes all the fucking like wrestling gifs. Like that dude's cash money.
Yeah. All right, but the Golden Boy Awards are tonight, and right now we'd like to award at Sexy Chucky T, at Boss Moz, and you know what? I know we're not you guys aren't that familiar with him, but I'm gonna give it to Warhorse. Fucking Warhorse has been dominating this year. He rules ass. So, for hashtag Twitter accounts of the year. And while I do that, let's go back to the negative well. I think this is the last time we do it, to talk about the worst fucking angle of the year. And I originally had Bray on this, like everything since Hell in a Cell for Bray. But after TLC, he's kind of redeemed himself in my eyes. Like the Miz storyline was actually pretty well done. I liked that a lot. It's just get rid of the red lighting and I think he'll be good.
Yeah, definitely an honorable mention, because that's also led to the streak of all of the Fiend's matches.
Yeah.
Because they're all the same now, and they just got real bad.
Yes.
But anyway, Scottye, would you like to throw in your third place?
Oh, that's right. We've already gotten into it a little bit. But really, it's the only time where we had to see our boy Mega Ran get disrespected on a national scale, and for that, they will not be forgiven for what Ring of Honor did at Madison Square Garden in April.
I still remember, because you asked him, because we were eating with him at a Bubba Gumps at Daytona for...
Y'all went to eat at Bubba Gumps with Mega Ran?
Yeah! We went to
Fuck
Bubba
you
Gumps.
guys!
We went to Bubba Gumps and we went to Wing House and looked at ass and ate wings. We've been over this.
I
didn't know you could...
I also don't know if Ran wants this story out, so we'll just let it be secret. But
like he told us like what all went down with it. And like we were like, "Oh, that tracks for how bad the company is doing." But like, I'm sorry.
Like he got punked out. Like he could have done something cool. He could have brought out like
he wanted to.
Yeah, he could have had somebody cool come out and attack Bully Ray. Instead, Bully Ray just comes out and scares him out of the ring again because fucking Bully Ray. And so so that happened.
Can I like
you can tag team this with me if you want.
Okay, great. Here, I'll do the stuff that they fucked up with New Japan people, and then you can do the other ones.
Yes.
Or we can let's start at the beginning. First fuck up. We're gonna bring in the beautiful people and relabel them and fuck our own women's division.
Oh, also, we're gonna have a really awesome, like, Battle Royale match to determine who's gonna face someone later in the match, and we're gonna have Jushin Thunder Liger in it, and he's not...
And the Great Muta. And we're gonna have the Great Muta show up.
Neither of them are gonna win!
Also, we're not gonna pay for anybody's music from Japan, so everybody at home doesn't get to enjoy Minoru Suzuki's entrance theme, and they're gonna be really confused as why everybody yelled Kaze ni Nare at the top of their lungs during this random create a wrestler music.
Exactly. So that happened. Then, like Dylan said,
we're gonna have Enzo and Kaz show up under shitty names with no build up. Jump the barricade after a match. Get beat the shit out of by the Briscoes, and we're gonna piss off the Gorillas of Destiny so bad that they're going to do nothing but shit on our company for 6 months.
Oh, and by the way, we're gonna bring in Cass and Enzo, but we're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna film it. We're not gonna cut to it. We're gonna try our best to ignore the whole situation. That way, the wrestlers in the ring and everybody else thinks that this is just those two being dipshits. We're gonna do that as well.
Lastly, we're gonna have our part of the main event, a triple threat ladder match, and we're gonna have the least over person on our roster win over the most over person on our roster on the biggest stage to the worst reaction.
Because we're afraid that Marty's leaving, so we're just not gonna give him the belt right now as a way of being like, why don't you stay with us though? Why don't you stay? Instead, we're just not gonna give it to him because fuck Marty. He hasn't done anything for this company.
By the way, did y'all mention Dalton Castle? I might have missed it because he got the royal snub on that show.
And didn't he turn?
We're gonna have Dalton Castle have a 30-second match against Rush,
and then turn heel.
And then turn heel the next day on the Boys.
No, it was then. It was that same night.
Oh, that's right. Turn heel that night on the Boys.
Yes, exactly.
We're gonna ruin everything on the grandest scale.
Our biggest show of the year. Fuck that. Biggest show of all time. We're just gonna... This was the beginning of their shift to becoming essentially WWE Light. Instead of focusing on what got them to the dance.
No, they're worse. I'd rather watch WWE than them right now.
Yeah, exactly.
At least the production value's there with WWE. Maybe not the camera cuts, but like...
Yeah, exactly. So, Ring of Honor's Madison Square Garden show is my worst angle of the year. Blake, would you like to talk about yours? Because yours kind of resulted in a series of bad angles.
Exactly, and that's why it was mostly, like, when we talked about it, why this is just kind of just lumping all of these in. And that is the baby faces that won at WrestleMania.
Yes, giving the fans everything they want. Having literally every storyline end at WrestleMania.
Every major storyline. And things like, okay, let's start off with Kofi Kingston, because I think this is the biggest one. Kofi, rose to the challenge, defeated Daniel Bryan, and, went on to cement himself as the WWE champion. And he had a pretty strong run, but they never really did anything with it outside of Kofi's got the title, he's gonna defend it.
Big E is now gonna call them the WWE champion in his intro. That's all that changed.
Yeah, that's about it. And then he's going to lose to Brock Lesnar in 2 minutes.
I don't know if they'll let him do it, but I'm very curious on the New Day's podcast if they'll ever actually discuss that. Because, this week, they got very fucking candid when it comes to, injuries and shit like that and got really real. And I'm like, oh, man, I want to hear Kofi talking about how he felt about his title reign, at least the end.
I do too, because it must have been such an empowering moment, to be there at Mania, to have won that championship, to have, cemented your legacy and then have it go nowhere. I mean, it's very similar to what I assume would have happened with Daniel Bryan if he hadn't been injured in 2014.
Exactly. Well,
because it was, immediately after he won, you knew that they didn't have anything for him, so they just threw him in, a couple of shitty feuds. And they just kind of, pushed the goalpost until Brock wanted to come back. And that was about it.
Yeah.
That's the big one. There were a couple of smaller ones.
I mean, you had Seth and Becky get out. Seth became an asshole, essentially. Becky became...
Yeah, Seth beat Brock Lesnar in something that none of us really thought was going to happen. And then, of course, we talked ad nauseum about what happened with him, so I won't belabor that. But he went into another spiral because his reaction to winning the title wasn't as hot as they obviously thought it was going to be. So he was just going down the toilet.
Well, you had that, and then you had Becky, who the big deal was she's now Becky 2 belts. She's got belts for both brands. She can jump. She can do everything. Loses it the next fucking month, and then immediately enters the easily could have been worst angle of the year, which was the Lacey Evans Baron Corbin bullshit, where they were like, Becky Lynch is Seth Rollins' girlfriend, that's the girlfriend.
Yeah, and it also drug Seth into it. So
yes, exactly.
Oh.
They didn't have it's the end of a story, and they didn't have a plan of where to go next. They just said, let's give them everything they want, and we'll settle it after the dust clears. And the dust cleared, and they went, oh, fuck, I got no clue, y'all.
Yeah, they rarely do in, at the end of Mania or at the end of a big show. You can see where the story desert is. Yes. Where the drought of storylines are, and it's usually after Mania.
But, we're in December. I know where the droughts are. But
this is a big one, too. Also, honorable mention, Roman Reigns beat Drew McIntyre, and where the fuck's McIntyre been?
He's doing his whole thing. Now, oh god, Dylan, I'm afraid to hear you go off on this one, because this deserves its spot as #1 worst angle of the year.
All right, so all right, guys. So let me pitch this to you from the beginning. All right, so Rusev Day.
Yeah.
You know how Rusev Day is pretty good. It's pretty over. Okay, we're gonna break that up. We're gonna have Aiden English turn on him.
Was that this year too?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long goddamn year.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have Aiden English. He's just gonna kind of fade into the background. He's just gonna kind of disappear. And then we're just gonna have Rusev kind of flounder around for a while. And then we're gonna have a shitty angle with Mike Kanellis, where Maria Kanellis is just being a real bitch to him, and he's just taking it because Vince McMahon gets off to that shit. And in that angle, we're gonna have her pretend that the baby isn't Mike's. It's not Mike's baby, and instead it's Rusev's. And Rusev comes down and kicks the shit out of Mike Kanellis. But unfortunately, whenever you defeat Mike Kanellis like that, you take on his shitty angle, because now Lana is cheating on Rusev with Bobby Lashley. And there's going to be just a bunch of really uncomfortable vignettes. Just really stuff you didn't even want to see on TV. Not because of like the interracial like tones, like that's fine. It's the unnecessary sexual tones that I didn't want in my wrestling.
I forgot about the fucking vignettes, dude. I really did.
Oh yeah. Oh, it keeps going. And then we're gonna have Rusev just look really sad for a bit. But then Rusev in real life, I'm pretty sure, and in the ring, just stops giving a fuck completely. Just 100%, just powers off. He's just like, whatever. And like we're gonna make him focus all his attention at Lashley, and this is gonna be a back and forth. And Lana's just gonna come out and give shit promos for months, like at least 3 months, of just terrible promos, the worst of her career. And in English, too, there's no Russian accent. Rusev calls it out at one spot. Everybody's going to laugh. We're going to look like retards. Sorry. I don't like to use that word, but like somebody has to have some kind of like just somebody had to like just not even Freudian slip. Like they just had to mentally shut down to continue to book this.
I also like after last week where Dylan dropped the R-bomb and then was like, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry, guys. Drops it again this week. This is his streak going.
No, it's just, I got so angry that it's like when you get angry in an argument with somebody and just call them something you shouldn't, you're like, damn it. It's like that.
Yeah.
But like, and then we're gonna keep that going, and then we're gonna have Rusev lose. We're gonna have him get punked out at TLC real hard. He's gonna look like a bitch. Yeah. And then the next night, we're gonna have them celebrate, and then now there's gonna be another wedding angle where Bobby's marrying Lana, because it's still going.
Yeah.
It's the end of the year. This shit started in July.
Oh, fuck. Did you? Oh, no, it didn't. It started on the first episode of SmackDown. Or on Fox. Best SmackDown ever on Fox.
Yeah, no, that's how. It's been going since 1997.
But yeah, man, it's just, and the worst one for me was the fake pregnancy angle, because that's something that always is like, y'all know there are people out there trying to have babies and can't, and that's gonna fuck with them. And you know you don't want to do, like April Fool's Day, the people who come up with fake pregnancies. It's like, hey, no, that's not cool anymore. You don't do that. Meanwhile, WWE's like, it's probably getting them more heat. Let them do it. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you know how people, and I know there are people that defend it being like, this angle is so bad, it's good. No, this angle is so bad, it's horrible. This angle is so bad that I believe somebody said, WWE, keep my next paycheck if I never have to see Lana and Bobby Lashley on screen again.
I mean, take this from a man who genuinely enjoys bad shit. Like my favorite ride at Universal Studios is Fast and the Furious Supercharged, and that's a fucking shoot, brother. I love some good bad shit. This is not good bad. The only thing I get from this is like schadenfreude of seeing someone constantly fuck up. That's the only pleasure I get out of it. Not a pleasure of, oh, this is so bad, it's good.
Ugh. Okay, we can't do this anymore. It took us so long to get through the worst angles because we were so angry.
So instead, let's talk about some good angles. The best promotional tactic used this year by a company, and mine is probably the dumbest, but it's when MJF made a bunch of nerds mad on Twitter because for those of you who forgot, to promote a very small blow-off match that MJF had against Brandon Cutler, Brandon Cutler posted like MJF posted a selfie of him in the gym, jacked as all shit, and it says, I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. And then all of D&D Twitter unleashed hell upon it. And a numerous amount of them, once they found out it was a wrestling angle, was like, I need to see Brandon Cutler beat the fuck out of you. So it was like a straight up old school Roddy Piper moment, except it was with a bunch of fucking nerds.
I have some bad news for those nerds. That's not what happened.
Yes, exactly. MJF did end up winning. But, I mean, at the same time, you got to think of all the people that it brought in. And let me tell you something. AEW is fucking great for nerds. It's great. WWE is for the center of the bell curve. AEW is for the far end of it, of just the nerdy people who are willing to look into backstory and shit like that. They've got a fucking dinosaur on their roster, okay? And I feel like
he's over his shit.
Yes! And I think MJF bringing in all of these nerds to AEW is exactly what they needed. So that is why I consider that my promotional tactic of the year. But Dylan, yours brought in the center of the bell curve to AEW, not the far end.
Oh yeah. So again, we're gonna do a little thing. So imagine you're in Jacksonville. You're announcing this new company that you're making. You're the Elite. Like you got all this indie cred, you got all this Japanese, you got all this stuff. But you need something to put it over the top. So what do? You bring in arguably like one of the best performers of the generation in Chris Jericho, and you just have him show the fuck up at your press conference.
Yeah.
And he announces that AEW is Jericho, and he sells 1 million goddamn t-shirts that say that. And guess what? It fucking worked. It worked so well. Because then the WWE people were like, wait, what the fuck's Jericho doing? And like, it was brilliant. And I know why he did it. He talked about like hating to, because he concurred with Moxley. It's like, yeah, no, fucking trying to get shit done with those dickheads was awful. And like, he was like, all right, I'm gonna back this horse, and like it's been great.
Yeah, exactly. And like, he was the one who coined the change the universe thing, wasn't he? Because I don't think it was Cody or something like that.
No. We're gonna change the universe. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
It's that thing that Jericho does where he can turn a phrase and make it into something massive,
like a little bit of the bubbly.
Or Le Champion.
Yes, exactly. To where he is now announced as Le Champion. It was a dumb thing he said once, and he was like, oh shit. Like, that's what he would always talk about when he was talking about, like, doing shit on WCW. He would be like, I would just say something dumb, and next week I'd come and there would be signs of, like, a man of 1,004 holds, or, like, Ralphus Jericho personal security shirts all throughout the crowd, and that's when I'd be like, oh, this is something I can hang on to. He is the smartest fucking wrestler of all time, and yeah, bringing him in for AEW was probably not a death blow, because I feel like the war is still going to be going back and forth, but it was definitely one of the strongest power plays they've made.
Now,
real body shot.
Yeah.
But to get on to our number one best promo tactic of the year, and one that I think will follow, like, and be one of the best known for a long time.
And I'll argue, some people are gonna say we're very AEW heavy today, and there's fucking reasons for that, because they're awesome.
Yeah, but this one isn't an AEW based.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
really
many people would think that, so I just want to quickly say, this is not AEW related.
And that is, so imagine,
Fuck.
11:59 p.m.
You can't keep doing the imagine.
Dean Ambrose's WWE contract is gone at midnight. The clock strikes midnight.
Dean Ambrose is dead.
And boom! Jon Moxley's Twitter explodes with this fucking great video, like, well produced, that they spent a lot of time on making. Everybody was scared that Moxley would disappear right after that for a while.
I believe on the show we were like, he could go to AEW, or he could fuck off in the woods for 5 years. We don't really know. He could go either way.
Exactly.
He could just become a kingpin in Vegas. Like, it's all possible.
He basically did. And this fucking Twitter video hits, and by the time I wake up the next day, it is everywhere. Like, he's breaking out of the fucking prison, he's running, you see him, like, cutting himself on that barbed wire, and, like, no, he is back, and he is ready to do that fucking thing that he wants to do so good, and that is wrestle. I realized during my nominations that I was very Mox heavy.
Yeah. And... I was Cody heavy, so it tracks. It's fine. Well, my favorite thing about it is it was so well produced that they also put in not only hints, but red herrings. So there was just like a big fucking dog, and they're like, that's just Roman, it's fine. Then there would be like a sign that had, in the back, the dice had like 5... it had like 525 or something like that, and people would be like, that's the date of Double or Nothing, and it's got dice like Vegas, and I'm like, or it could just be a bar Moxley liked. Like, come on. It was so perfectly done that you couldn't tell what was a hint and what was a red herring. It was a perfectly made video.
Yes. And who was it that helped him film and produce it? I forget his name. The deathmatch wrestler.
It was a deathmatch wrestler, and I think AEW ended up hiring him because he did such a good fucking job with it that they're like, we can't not bring him in for this.
Yeah. Listen to his podcast with Jericho, and it'll tell you all about it.
Yeah. Which, by the way, podcast of the episode of the year, that's not a Fight Boys episode, probably does have to go to that Moxley interview because it was fantastic.
Yeah, it brought a lot of stuff to light that we're still processing.
I mean, like, it brought forth the "that's good shit" meme. It was perfect.
And this is one that's just like, I think about this every now and again when I think about how to do good promotion, and it's just like, boom, you throw shit like that, that's a real curveball. That's a real surprise in wrestling, dropping that Twitter video.
At midnight, no less. But now it's time, we're down to the big three. The three things people come to hear are entertainer, wrestler of the year, babyface of the year, and we're gonna start with our match of the year. And it should be no surprise to anyone that Dylan's is from New Japan.
Hey. Fuck you and your bias. Put me third.
Yeah.
Bunch of bitches. I was talking about the hypocrisy is that you guys voted Will Ospreay with me as wrestler of the year, and then I put his best match in, and you're like, no, that's only the third best, so you can go fuck off.
Well, hold on. You remember me saying, I've not seen any Ospreay matches. I just believed in you. I was like, no, Ospreay is great, so I'm just gonna vote it. But...
You could have easily found it, asshole. You had time and resources. Anyway, Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi was fucking masterful, because it was Shingo, who at that point had never been pinned or submitted. He had won and lost the tag titles, but that was because they threw Bushi in there and was like, yeah, okay, he can take some losses. And he hadn't been defeated in the Best of the Super Juniors. Fucking run through everybody, like a host of great matches. So he was literally like fucking unstoppable force versus Will Ospreay, who showed up with a literal samurai sword to this fucking final, and they proceeded to have one of the best goddamn matches I've seen. Not even like junior, like fucking like heavyweight, like in that like just overall great matches. False finishes that were believable. Like, match could go either way. I watched it the day after. I knew the result. They still got me.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how hard that is? Like they made me believe in it.
I will say it is a truly phenomenal match. And if I knew more about the actual storyline going into it, then I probably would have rated it higher.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. It's why y'all get on me for New Japan, but I was just like, but the story, like, if you put any amount of like you might, maybe it's like you're like me and you can only really like look at it on Twitter or watch like a few matches, but you're like, man, they've been really just building on this shit for years.
Yeah.
Callbacks to stuff years ago. Like, it's like the anti-WWE where they're just like, hey, you remember that thing we did years ago and I kind of let it slide? I'm going to murder your family over it now. And you're just like, wow, I really appreciate you like going back for that plot thread you left there.
Yeah. Well, on to Blake's match of the year, and it's a good one.
Yeah, this is a banger. Like, this is one that I was invested in the story through not only like when this happened, but with a certain wrestler's journey to this moment where it was Cole versus Gargano, the 2 out of 3 falls matches where Gargano won the NXT Championship. And
you mean the match of 1,000 kickouts?
1,000 kickouts.
That is the only issue I have with this match at all, is by the end, Johnny Gargano looked like you needed a shotgun to defeat him.
And I think that was so much of the point.
Point blank range.
Yeah.
I think that was so much of the point that, like, got across to me, because at that point, I was, like, there was almost no doubt in my mind that Gargano was gonna do the thing that he always does, and that's almost get it. And then he started to kick out, and kick out, and kick out, and it's like, this is either building to a glorious victory or a complete and utter defeat, and they could go either way with it. But also the spots were fantastic, the pacing was great, and I just, like, this is the match that I was most invested in all year, I think. And it was exactly what I wanted in a wrestling match.
Yes, I could see that. Well, the match that got me the most invested this year is our number 1 pick for match of the year, and it should surprise nobody as Cody Heavy that I've been this time. That I chose the only match that made me cry this year, and it is Cody versus Dustin at Double or Nothing. 'Cause holy shit, it was amazingly done. It was that kind of moment, like, and it was also because I wasn't expecting anything. It was me going like, oh, they didn't get to do this match in WWE, so they're gonna get to do it now, and then they're gonna keep moving on. Like I said, I was still not having high hopes for Cody at this point. And then this match happened, and you got to see all of my favorite things about, like, the Cody character of having Brandy on the outside, like, doing heel things to help Cody win, but Cody being unsure of, like, should I do this? Should I not? And then, like, Justin just fucking bleeding like a stuck pig all over the mat. And blood is one of those things that you have to be careful with. This match needed that. There are certain matches where I'm like, that didn't need that much blood. A majority of matches at Game Changer Wrestling would be this. But this one was when I was like, no, this is good. Because it made Dustin really feel like that babyface who's like this old dog waiting to be put down by his brother and just crawling to the ropes, and just like you were begging for mercy by the end of it. And
the fact that we saw it live made the energy like feel so real. Like we were there for that, and even though we didn't expect much of it, it turned out in droves. And it wasn't a classic wrestling match even, or it wasn't a pure wrestling match, let's say. It was an entertainment match. It was a storytelling match.
Well, my favorite thing about this, and I'm curious if Blake remembers it, is afterwards where Cody's cutting that emotional promo of like, I don't need a partner. I don't need a friend. I need my older brother. I, at that point, break down in tears and just hug Blake. Like, I just lean over like, my best friend, my brother. And
it's so weird. I don't remember any of that. And I was next to you.
Well, you were on the edge. You were having your own emotional issues on your side, whereas I was just sobbing and cradling Blake in my arms. Like Shaggy holding Scooby-Doo.
I think that's how that went, yes.
Yeah. But it was just such a perfect... It was the payoff of years of them going like, it's gonna be amazing when we finally get to face each other in a ring. It's gonna be great. You guys just wait. And then they did it and said, yeah, no. You thought we were fucking around, didn't you? You thought we were playing, but no, fuck you. We nailed it.
Yep. This also really just goes to show, like, the discrepancies between the kinds of wrestling that's our favorite, the kinds of matches. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. And now let's get into the baby face of the year. And like I talked about, it's like the heel. It's not the most evil person. This isn't the most good wrestler. This is who's done the most good this year, the most awesome things. And that's why I'm going to start with Blake's.
Yes, because my babyface, like, like I mentioned earlier, he started out so strong. He won such an inspiring win. Like, he started this year not even close to where he got early on. And that is Kofi Kingston.
You take nothing, turn it into something.
Yeah, it's Kofi Kingston. Because like I said, it was 0 to 60, 0 to 100 even. Like how quickly the fans got behind him when they realized, like, no, we want him to win. When people were like, no, Kofi deserves this. He needs this. He's such a great guy. He's a great wrestler. And then he went and he won the championship at WrestleMania. And, like, it was such a pure, beautiful moment. I've talked about what happened afterwards and just how sad that's made me. And even then, he's not lost his own positivity on stage.
Yeah.
Which I really respect and I really admire, is even though he hasn't chased the belt again, which I find sad, but that's more of a bad booking decision.
Well, I mean, not only that, you've got to think, like Kofi or don't like Kofi, he was the first full-blooded African-American WWE champion. Took him a while to get there, I'll give him that, but, like, booking decisions aside, that is a moment that community's gonna have forever to rally around. I mean, like, getting to know Rand and seeing, like, how important that was for him and how important that is for, like, everyone in that community. It was a great moment no matter what, and it didn't even happen on purpose. It didn't happen on purpose. Fucking, was it Ali who got injured? And then Kofi, like, last minute replaces him in an elimination chamber match and kills it so hard that WWE changes all of their booking for WrestleMania just for that.
Killed it so hard that all of the fans were basically demand. It was almost perfectly parallels WrestleMania 30, where the audience was like, no, you want to do this thing? No.
Yeah.
No.
Which I really love how adamant that Brian was that no, Kofi's the one that's gonna face. I want Kofi at Mania.
Yeah, exactly.
And good on KO for being like, no, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, was it supposed to be KO?
Yeah, it was supposed to be KO. Remember, that's why KO's match was at Fastlane.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be Kofi, and then they were like, yeah, no, Kofi, and they screwed over Kofi so that they could then switch spots.
Oh, okay, I can see that. Well, that is a fucking great, probably, like, if historically best babyface of all time, you're gonna have, like, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, John Cena, and Kofi. Like, that's gonna be it as far as, like, your best good guys of all time. But Dylan, yours is interesting because yours and mine kind of parallel for babyface of the year.
So I'm not as big of a Cody mark as you, but I'm also, like, because he's the best, who's done the most good overall. And Cody, and, like, you know, also with Brandy, has done as much, I think, as he possibly can with his station as EVP. Like, not only has he done great in the ring, and, like, helped, like, you know, he brought up MJF, he brought his brother in and made his brother relevant, like, again, showed everybody that, like, he's tried to put over as many people as he can, like, that match with Darby. But, like, outside the ring, like, all the stuff that he's tried to do with, like, you know, charity, with, like, people with special needs at the shows, like championing things left and right, media, all that jazz. Like, he's done as, you can tell that he's trying to do as much as he possibly can with his station. And, like, to not only further, like pro wrestling and his company, but, like, the people in it, like his boys that in there, like, you can tell that he and, like, you know, the Bucks and Kenny as well, like, they're all just looking out for him, and he's, like, leading the charge of that, because they're all EVPs, but you get the sense that, like, Cody is the one that's actually, like, a vice president.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like the other ones are like, you guys are just kind of in charge of like, Cody's the one where it's like, he puts on a suit and probably gives a fuck. And the other ones are probably there in, like, sweatpants and, like a wrestling tee.
Yeah.
And, like, no, it's been impressive.
Yeah, he is that big dog on campus. Like, he's the one that's putting in the most work to make AEW, like, work in the, like, behind the scenes too.
Ooh,
alongside being a wrestler.
Yes. Well, that leads to my baby face of the year, our number one baby face of the year. And I picked this almost purely out of being a content creator for this show. Because I don't know how you guys felt. This show got fucking exhausting, especially during the, like, what happened after WrestleMania. Because each week it would be coming on and us being like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about the shitty Baron Corbin storyline. I don't want to talk about this. And it was.
I got so much New Japan time though.
Yeah, but it would get us like so upset because all we have to do is talk about this bullshit the whole time, and then finally,
because we couldn't even go back to Ring of Honor. We couldn't go to like most of this other indies.
Impact wasn't back yet.
Yeah, and then AEW fucking happened. And for those of you at home, you can blame AEW purely for the fact that this show is like an hour and 30 minutes as opposed to an hour now. Because like it even showed back when like Double or Nothing or a Fyter Fest or any of that would happen. Because we'd come on the show and just get so excited to talk about something great happening in pro wrestling. And like, it's brought a new level of excitement to the show. It's put new, exciting professional wrestling to watch every single week. They've brought in great talent, and they're still consistently bringing in, like, new people like Statlander and Big Swole and trying to get better every single week. And
they got a fucking man dressed as a dinosaur over. Yeah. They could do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And
they're magicians.
And AEW AEW is the only thing that this year that has had a direct influence on the quality of this podcast you're listening to. Because I feel like when we're happy, we want to do this show. We want to come on and talk about all the great shit that happened.
100%. Like, it is made, like, being excited about wrestling is the only way you can enjoy wrestling. Because I've realized, like, listening and reading everything from all the shit posts on Reddit or any like negative news stories, and it's just like wrestling fans hate themselves more than anything, and when that is why there's just like bad wrestling just compounds that. So the fact that we have a place that we can go where we can be jazzed about something and be happy about it, it's great.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, as a joke, I would always be like, my favorite TV show? Oh, Monday Night Raw. My favorite TV show? SmackDown. Just essentially telling people like, hey, I love pro wrestling. That's my thing. So I would just say that. When I say AEW Dynamite is my favorite television show, I'm not fucking around. It is my favorite. I do not miss an episode when it comes out. It doesn't matter if I'm at work or at home or whatever. I will watch every single minute of it. I don't fast forward. I don't try to skip past bad parts. I watch the whole thing. And that is why AEW is our 2019 Golden Boy Award winning Babyface of the Year. And now finally, let's get into the individuals. The best, absolute best performer of the year. Not in ring, but just the person who was the fucking best this year. And Blake, you've already talked about him a lot. What else do you have to say about old number 3 here?
Number 3, my best performer of the year is Jon Moxley. Because, like I said earlier, I've never seen such a turnaround from somebody who seems so burnt out on wrestling to going whole hog in on, I'm going to fucking go into wrestling again. And he just started out like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to do this video while I'm still contracted to WWE. I'm going to plan to let it out. I'm going to let this fucking video out, and then I'm taking bookings, bitch. And I don't care what I'm going to be, what you want to book me as. I want to fight. I want to get in there. I want to get, like, knee deep in. I want to dive right in again.
Yeah.
And he went, he did some indies.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, we never talked about his indie bookings, but, like, he had a fantastic match with Darby Allin. That was the first time Darby ever did, like, the hands tied spot, where he's, like, doing suicide dives and shit. That was against Moxley.
Yeah, he he was ready to not only get back into wrestling, but get back into wrestling hardcore. And then he went to New Japan. And then he had his entire run with the G1, his run with the United States Championship. He had his whole back and forth with Shooter. Like, all of the promos that he cut during that were fantastic. He was still bringing in comedy, and he was still bringing in, like, funny shit, too. And that just showed you, oh, this is what we could have had. This is how it could have been.
What was the fucking promo with Shooter? Look at this guy fucking dropping panties all across the world. It's Shooter, baby.
Panda dropper shooter over here.
Yeah.
Look at him, handsome son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And like,
oh yeah, he was like holding up the middle fingers. Talk for me, Shooter. Talk for me. And then Shooter just holds up the middle fingers too, and he's like, no, promo, do promo.
That was great. Then of course he came into AEW, and he's been there for, and you know, for a little bit he kind of got, he was doing his own matches, so he wasn't in the title scene or anything, but his debut into AEW, being there, watching it at Double or Nothing, it was so fantastic. His promo afterwards, like I said, the Paradigm Shift promo, and there's not been a Moxley promo this year that I haven't enjoyed, and there's not been, like, a thing that he's done this year that I haven't really found some enjoyment in or been entertained by, because he's a very entertaining individual when you just let him do what he wants to do.
Yeah. And speaking of entertaining individuals, I'd like to go to number 2 for Superstar of the Year. And this one might be contentious because he's had a rough couple of months lately. But I'm really glad that he's my friend, and he knows that friendship will never ever end. How could it not be fucking Bray Wyatt for the Firefly Funhouse gimmick? Because right after WrestleMania, all we see is a weird buzzard pop out of a box, and the entire world goes, the fuck is this shit?
I love how ominous it was, too, when it started out.
Well, it reminded me almost of, like, do you remember when Brodus Clay, who's gone through a bit of issues himself lately, had his promos of, like, Brodus Clay's coming. Oh yeah, the big Brodus is coming. And then, somebody call my mama! And he just debuts randomly this funk gimmick. That's what it was, but done right. Where it was all creepy and ominous, and people are like, Bray's gonna have some weird creepy shit happen. And then Firefly Funhouse happens, and I immediately go, oh, this is gonna be the only reason I watch Raw every single week right now. And he never let it get tired. Like, there would be a week where you're like, okay, he's just gonna do the Mr. Rogers gimmick again, whatever. And then that would be when he would do, like, the Muscle Man dance and do some Tim and Eric bullshit. And then finally, he reveals to everybody what this is building towards, a fucking terrifying-ass clown. And it worked. It was horrifying. And then he finally debuts against Finn, and has an amazing match where he kills Finn so hard he has to go back to developmental. And my favorite thing about it is the fact that people are like, when you fight the Fiend, you change. And it's not oh, this is a spooky thing about him. It's a literal, when he fought Finn went to developmental, turned heel. Fought Seth then turned heel. Daniel Bryan already looks like Orange Cassidy. Who knows what he's going to be doing to The Miz at this point? Like, what's going to change because of it? But everyone...
He is a literal lake of reincarnation.
Yes, everyone the Fiend faces, they change.
Excellent!
Yes. The only thing at this point that's holding him back is the fact of, like, he gotta find a new way to do matches and get rid of that red light. But other than that, I feel like the best thing he could have done is what he did, which is fight The Miz as Funhouse Bray, and the whole time kind of nail down the fact of Bray Wyatt went away for a while and learned literally how to not feel pain. And have Miz, like, literally do the fucking arm breaker, the Pentagon arm breaker spot, and Bray just laugh, walk to the outside, and run at a guardrail to pop his shoulder back into joint. It's such a grim, creepy character, and it's provided so much entertainment this year, with the exception of, one or two matches.
I will say that overall, like, it has been a fantastic gimmick change, and that as something that's that, like, started out as, oh my god, this could either be really, really good or really, really bad. I'm glad that it stayed on the really, really good side, especially because Funhouse hasn't stopped being good, honestly. And Funhouse Bray hasn't stopped being good.
Yeah, and my favorite part about it is the fact that even when, like I said, worst angle of the year for me at some point was going to be Bray Wyatt post Hell in a Cell. And then TLC happened, and I was like, well, he was bad for a couple months, but he's really righted the course now and changed things up, and I like it.
See, that's the thing is, like, this is why he's Entertainer of the Year, not Wrestler, because his matches are arguably, like not great. The Fiend is limited, and Bray Wyatt overall is limited as what he does as a wrestler.
The Finn one was good. I did enjoy the Finn match, because that was literally just, hey, watch the Fiend kill a guy, and that was it.
Yeah, but, like the character he portrays, like, the thing where he just shoves his shoulder back and all that, like, that is the best of the WWE way of doing wrestling. Like, he is the pinnacle of, like, you tell a story and then the wrestling is just there to, like, enhance the violence.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of a guy who's good at the WWE style, the WCW style, the ECW style, the New Japan style, a man who could
the
really...
CMLL style.
Yeah, a man who could really reinvent himself wherever he goes. Let's get into the Entertainer of the Year!
Chris Jericho! I put him for this because not only did he like show up in AEW and he started doing this stuff, but before that, or like around that time, he did the Painmaker bullshit with Okada, which, like, wasn't great, but it was entertaining as a motherfucker.
Yeah. Chris, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Chris Jericho is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's fucking real good.
Yeah. But the thing is that, like, so he had that too with, like, the spikes and, like, the hat and the looking like Hot Topic leather daddy. And, like, you know what he did after he won the championship? Dropped all that shit like a bad habit.
Yeah.
And started wearing, like weird, colorful blazers. He got a new crew around him. And he started, like, started churning out catchphrases and, like, fun interactions with people. He's easily, like, if he's not the first most entertaining part of Dynamite, he's second.
Yeah.
It's like once he won, he was like, I can finally stop brooding now because I am as good as I remember.
Well, my favorite thing is also, as we're doing this, I'm slowly realizing, like, other categories and what I would pick for it. And segment, promotional video, whatever you want to call it, of the year for me definitely goes to win. Jericho took the piss out of all of the shitty promo videos Cody made to build up to matches and brought in fucking Soul Train Jones, baby. It had just...
Listen, Chris Jericho's potential is like Olive Garden breadsticks. Unlimited. By the way, that's quote of the year.
Oh,
because I know that.
Yeah.
Because I co-opt that part to talk to other people about things. mostly people that are in relationships and they're talking about their significant others. So I was like, so you're saying your love is like Olive Garden breadsticks, unlimited.
You fucking asshole.
God damn.
But yeah, Jericho, man, Jericho was a guy who at the beginning of the year when he came out for AEW, I'm like, that's a big get for them, but whatever, it's just Jericho. It was about the same time he was doing the Painmaker shit, and I was like, it's whatever. And then AEW actually started. And my favorite part about it is Jericho in the past has been like, well, when I'm a heel, I usually try to stray away from catchphrases because catchphrases make people like you. But the thing is with Jericho at this point, as much as AEW wants to, I mean, the whole you're welcome thing, I brought all the people to this dance, that's kind of true. Because no matter what show you go to, Jericho gets cheered, even when he's trying to get booed. He is playing a babyface masquerading as a heel. That is his character 100% at this point.
And he can do any and all aspects of a good wrestling character. Like, he has made so many transformations over the years, and he is still doing it, and to the level that he's always done it.
Yeah, exactly. And, of course, make sure to order a little bit of the bubbly online from Stephen fucking Amell, apparently.
And don't forget to create your own lexicon Le Champion.
This summer, 2 men save the world. From who, you ask? Everything invading robo-penises.
This show is not about those 2 men. This show's just a load of BS. The show where Blake Tanner and Scottye Moore make up dumbass movies like that. We're your personal think tank. We're your 2 white guys, which fills the quota for a podcast, I think.
And we're just gonna be here to have a good time and talk about sauerkraut.
That's right, except no substitutes, ladies and gentlemen, because this is that pure, uncut BS.
Good, uncut.
Alright, so boys, we've given out awards. What did we learn this week?
I learned that when you get 3 boys in a box, they can talk a lot about wrestling.
I learned Blake likes Jon Moxley, I like Cody Rhodes, Dylan loves New Japan Pro Wrestling.
You just learned that?
Yeah.
I'm only wearing a shirt. That's fine. I only brag about going to their show in Tampa, which I have to buy tickets for.
Yeah.
You know, for something I'm surprised about, I know he hasn't had the best year until recently, but I'm surprised that Kenny wasn't in as much of this as I thought.
There are people that were more prominent. It's because, things haven't ramped up for AEW yet.
Yeah, true.
Next year, though, watch out.
Yeah, like I said, honorable mention for Match of the Year does go to Kenny and Mox for their fucking brutal battle.
Mm-hmm.
But until next week, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Blake A. Tanner on the Twitter. You can find me at The Darkroom Vidya on YouTube. You can find me anywhere you can find most of these fine BS podcasts on the BS Podcast Network.
Forget it. Just go follow Chuck Taylor.
Fucking Twitter account of the year. Follow Chuck Taylor, Boss Moz, and Warhorse. You guys heard it here first. And follow me on Twitter at Scottye Moore, SCOTTYEMO. Buy all my books on Amazon and check out all the other BS Network programs at aloadofpurebs.com, because we ain't the only awards show in town. Blake and I are giving out the awesome awards on this week's episode of A Load of BS. It's the most awesome things we've gotten to do all year, so make sure to check all of that out at aloadofpurebs.com.
Special thanks to Mega Ran for our theme song, Fighters.
And for being our friend.
Yes.
Hold on, wait. Musical Artist of the Year, Mega Ran.
Mega Ran. Mm-hmm.
Have Mega Ran remix Cody's theme song.
Oh, yeah.
I would love that. But yeah, you can check out Mega Ran on Twitter. Check out all of his music. He's got some great stuff out there.
That's right, and remember to support the show, whether that be by donating to the Patreon, picking up some merch at merch.loadofpurebs.com, or just rating us on iTunes. Leave us those 5 stars you know we crave. But if you've done all of that, just tell a friend who loves pro wrestling that they need to check out the Fight Boys. And as always, you can find us at aloadofpurebs.com. Step up to the merch table at merch.aloadofpurebs.com. Find us on Facebook, donate to the Patreon, subscribe on YouTube, and remember to follow us on Twitter at Fight Boy Show, Chuck Taylor, Boss Moz, and Warhorse. Because when you're a fight boy, you're a fight boy for life!